My name is Gelasius and I'm 27 years old.
How's 2020 been for you?
2020 was a good year. It had good and bad. I would say it started off bad, but then I can say I finished off on a high note. I finished off on a good note. So yeah, it hasn't been too bad. Obviously, it has been bad and good. So,
Can you tell me what happened?
um, lost my sister, and just prior to that, I lost my coach. So obviously, I was going through that for a good 7 months. I was challenging with the passing of my twin sister, and then obviously I flew over to Africa. Then after that, the year was pretty good. So can't complain. I say it's bad. Started off worse. It started off really bad, but I could say it finished off really on a high note.
Was it good to go back to Africa and just energy?
Yeah, man. Do you know what? Energy. Africa was really good. I could say it's one of the best experiences I had, and I think it was different for me this time because I was going through a lot. So I feel like I needed it. I needed that break. Just going to Africa it done a lot of good for me, and I feel like when you're going through so much things in your life, I feel like you need some of the sun. So I feel like it done me a lot of good because I was with a lot of family members, cousins, and I just got to see a whole different side of life, do you know, and everybody was happy, so I needed to be around good energy, so yeah, it was really nice.
So beside Corona, obviously, um, how was it losing your twin sister?
Well,
How did you deal with it?
I feel like I dealt with it pretty quite well actually, but it was a very tough moment when I lost my twin sister because obviously I've lost like family members and lost like cousins, maybe uncles. I've lost like people that's close to me, but twin it was a bit more hard on me. So I dealt with it pretty good, but it was tough. It was probably one of the toughest moments in my whole entire life because I could never imagine of losing a twin sister or anything like that.
How close were you?
Ooh, very close, man. That was my best friend. You gotta think about it. We shared 9 months together in the stomach. We ate together and stuff like that. So it was a bit different, man, because if that's my twin, man. So it was hard. It was hard.
And how long ago was this
It's
incident
about
happened?
9 months ago. 9 months ago. 9 months. No, actually, I lie. 10 months. 10 months now. Yeah, because it's coming up March. So February, March. So it's coming up to a year. This March is coming up to a year. So it's been 10 months ago. Yeah.
And then how about you and your family? How are you guys dealing? Because obviously, if it's been okay for you, what about your family members?
Um, they've been dealing with it alright, but I feel like my mum, it hits my mum a lot, but my mum never shows it. She's a bit different because I feel like she's trying to be strong for us in the family, so she will never show it. But it's hit everybody. It's affected everybody in my family in a different way, certain ways. But I feel like I've got a strong family. Nobody really shows that they're hurt or anything. Everybody's just be strong for everybody because obviously because of my little nephew, so everybody just be strong for him. Most importantly, yeah. So obviously she's got a little son. And obviously he's quite young, so everybody's being really strong for him, most importantly. So.
Now,
Yeah.
how is he going?
Now do you know what? He's such a happy kid, man. I don't even think he knows, but obviously, I think he's starting to realise because he's getting to that age. Obviously, he's 4, it's 5, but I think he's starting to notice because certain things, like my little nieces, they're around their mum and they're always talking about mum and dad, and he's just there. But I feel like he does know something's not right. You know, even when we take him to my sister's grave, and after that you can just tell him like on his face he changes. He becomes like really like he's in shock. Like he just becomes quiet, and after that he just becomes a mood. So I guess he knows, he's starting to understand, but he's still kind of young, but he's very happy. Kids are kids, innit, so they don't really understand. So you give him toys, he forgets and things like that. But he's quite strong, man. He's quite a strong little boy.
And does it put pressure on you, the fact that now
Yeah, it's put a lot of pressure on me, man, because now I have to step up to the plate because that's my twin. So I feel like I'm the father now for him. Even though he has got a father, I feel like I'm the father now. I do everything for him. So for me, it's put a lot of pressure that I need to give him the best life that, you know, that my sister wanted for him. So for me, it's like I can't fail my twin sister. So I have to do everything. And everything right now I do in my life is because of him, not because of anybody else. Cut everybody out of the picture. Everything I'm doing in his life, success, working hard, it's just for him, just so that he can have a good future, because I don't want him to look back and say, you know, his mum wasn't there or whatsoever. I want him to always remember like my mum wasn't there, but my dad, my uncle always made sure I had the best life. So for me, anything I would get again in this life is just for that kid, man. So I'll go really hard every day just for him.
how do you deal with this pressure on a day-to-day basis?
Do you know what? I pray and I just work really hard. And you know, for me at the moment, I don't feel the pressure as much because I feel like my twin sister's guiding me on this path. Even though she's not here, I always got this belief that my sister's got my back. And I always feel like whatever I do, she's my guardian angel. So wherever I go right now, I feel like my sister's guiding me with the choices I make in life right now. And anything that I do, I feel like a lot right now, don't really like to tell a lot of people what's going on behind closed doors, but a lot of good things is happening. And I feel like a lot of good things is happening behind closed doors because of my twin sister. I really got that belief that, you know what, anything I'm receiving right now is the blessing of my sister. She's guiding me, and I feel like she knows I'm going to be looking after her son, so I'm pretty sure she's blessing me, and that's why a lot of blessings I'm receiving in my life is because of my twin sister. So the pressure's not as hard as before, but it is there, but not as if you know what I mean. So
do you stress for what's to come in the future, or do you take it one day at a time?
I take it as it comes, one day at a time. I feel like if you think too much, you're going to run yourself crazy, man. Plus, tomorrow isn't promised. That's one thing I learned, so don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just take it as it comes. That's how I look at life. Just take it as it comes. Don't put no much pressure on yourself.
How did you lose your sister?
My sister was suffering with mental health for quite a while now, but not a lot of people knew about that she was suffering with mental health and stuff like that. I don't know exactly why it happened because obviously investigation's still going on and stuff like that, so we're still waiting for the outcome. And but I can tell you a little bit of it, how I lost her. I can't remember what day it was, but I woke up in the morning, and that day, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I woke up that day in the morning. I couldn't sleep that day for some reason. For some strange reason, I could not sleep that day, so I thought, you know what, I opened the window, I was looking out the window, and that day it was raining, it was cold, it's freezing. And I went back to bed around 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up again around 7, and I just couldn't sleep that day for some reason. It was a weird day, just a weird feeling, I couldn't sleep. So I went back to bed, woke up at 8. Around 9 o'clock I went to my friend's house. So I went to my friend's house, I get a phone call from my brother like, sorry for your loss. I was like, what? He was like, they found your twin sister in the park. Like she's dead. I was like she passed away. I was like, what? Yeah, I just broke down and I was like proper in tears, like I couldn't believe it. And then I tried finding out what had happened. There's so many speculation. They're saying one thing, But at the moment, investigation is still going on. There's still police are still investigating right now. There's a big investigation going on. There's so many things that I can't really say, but yeah, she suffered with mental health, but we don't know really why it happened. So we're still waiting for that.
So how do you deal with not knowing exactly what happened? You haven't had the full report on the full investigation.
Yeah, I just try not to think about it too much, but it does hit me every day. Like it goes through my mind, like, why actually happened that day? Why actually happened? You know, not knowing is hard, man. So it does eat me up. I just don't know what to think of it. So I just try. The best thing I try to do is just keep my mind focused, and I just try to think of all the positive. And I try to keeping myself busy, because if I don't keep myself busy, I'll lose the plot, honestly. Because every time I'm just like thinking to myself, why did she happen? And you know what's the worst thing about it as well? You end up killing yourself, like hurting yourself, because it's like you start to think of the worst. You start to think to yourself, I could have done this, I could have done that. And then that hurts you most. Because,
like you're blaming yourself?
Yeah, I blame myself sometimes, because even like when my sister passed away, me and her wasn't really on good terms. We wasn't really speaking. And this is another thing I say to people is, like, love your family, and do you know what I mean? Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Me and my sister, we used to, brothers and family fights. But me and my twin, we always used to clash, you know, regardless. Because my twin sister was stubborn. She was very stubborn, so we used to like clash a lot. But yeah, so that sometimes eats me up, because I'm like, man, the last memory I had with my twin sister was bad. We never really spoke, but she always showed love, and regardless of why it happened, but then some things is I never understood mental health at the time either. I just used to think, my sister's being spoiled or whatsoever, because it's a thing of it as an African growing up like in a hardship, and you seen the worst of the worst. It was a thing like, man, how can this person be feeling this like this? I didn't understand. I was being naive, because my thing is I grew up hard, we grew up tough. You know, it's like growing up in Africa, and nothing's easy. So I was like, do you know what? She can overcome anything. Like, I've seen my mom go through so much. I thought, do you know, that's nothing to my sister. She'll be able to deal with that. But not knowing everybody got different strength and not knowing how mental health affects everyone in a different way. Like for me now, how I losing my twin sister, I could have gone off rails. I could have been in the same position that she was in. But I deal with things different. So I realised my sister's it's a girl and stuff like that. She was dealing with her situation different, and that eats me up a lot. And the worst thing is always remembering that, you know what, I never got to say goodbye to my twin sister whatsoever. But my older brother obviously spoke to my sister the day before she passed. She was over at his house. So for him, he's always got good memories. For me, it eats me up because it's like me and my sister never had just before she passed away, we wasn't really on good terms. So I feel like that eats me up in silence. I might not show it, but it does eat me up. Trust me, it eats me up.
Do you guys talk about the last time that your brother had his last encounter with your sister?
Yeah, all the time. My brother's always, when I speak to my other brother, it's like, man, I'm so glad I've got to speak with her because she was over my house. We was laughing. He's got videos when it was over. So he shares good memories with me, do you know what I mean? And he's like, don't worry, man. Like, I was speaking to her the day before she passed. She was over my house with the little one. They was laughing. So it was good at the time. So my brother got good memories and stuff. Like, regardless if I didn't have good memories, like coming towards the end of the death. And I always look at like, at the end of the day, my sister forgive me regardless what we clashed on. And till now, it's just kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, you know what? Life could be taken away from the people that you love tomorrow. So make sure you don't go to sleep not happy with them. And just try making peace with anybody in your family. Regardless, whatever they've done to you, just you know what I mean, just make peace with them. Because tomorrow isn't promised, man. That's one thing I've learned about this life. You could be smiling, looking at my brother. He never knew my twin sister was going to pass away the next day. They made a plan for them to go to my sister's house the next day to have dinner. So the next day there was his wife was not his wife. My older sister and her little kids was meant to go to my sister's house for dinner, and then you get a phone call the next morning that your sister's passed away. So it just teaches you, man, never like argue with your family over petty things. And do you know what, me and my sister fell out over something petty, something so small. Just being, and you know the thing is, my sister's stubborn, and it got to the point, do you know what, I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm gonna be stubborn because she's been too stubborn for too long. Do you know what I mean? Just it was very pathetic and very childish. It was very childish, but I've learned a lot from that because now it's made me like be close to my family, and I'm so close to my mum now compared to before. I've always been close to my family, but I've always kind of slightly distanced away and things, and now it's not like that anymore. I've just learned a lot.
So when you came back from Africa, not too long ago, did you have a good support when you came back to England? Because I know you went back. It was nice to see family, friends. But when you came back here, how was it?
When I came back here, it was nice, but I'll be honest with you, just the weather, innit? The weather's depressing, man. I gotta take me back in the heat. But yeah, the support system was still good. But to be honest with you, going to Africa has helped a lot because I see a different side of life. I've seen people's struggles, and even though I lost my twin sister, I'm now starting to appreciate life a bit more, and I just see the positive side of life, and I see that it's a future now. So it's just I've seen a lot of things. I met some real good people, so that's helped me a lot, and it's helped me get over it a lot. Not get over it, but it helped me become immune to it because I saw all my childhood friends that I grew up with, and I spoke to them about the death of my sister because before I couldn't speak about it. So they've kind of helped me, and they've kind of gave me good memories that we shared together when we was little kids. So it's helped me out a lot. So coming back now, I feel strong and I feel better. I feel like I'm in a better position than I was before. If I told you what the position I was on before I went to Africa, you'd be saying, yeah, he's definitely changed it. He's changed a lot, man.
How long ago did you lose your coach?
I lost my coach 2019. Yeah, 2019. It was September. So it was literally 6 months between the passing of my twin sister. So 2019 and 2020 was a messed up year for me. Literally 6 months before my twin sister passed away, my coach passed away. Bear in mind, my coach was like a father figure to me. He was like a father kind of to me. So what hurt the most as well, he had like a plan for me for my boxing. So he's the guy, because the time when we was training for my boxing, I was still going through the challenges of my twin sister suffering from mental health issues, and he was such like a father figure. Every day he used to call me up about my sister. Make sure you've spoken to your sister. Bring her down the boxing gym. Do you know what I mean? He really cared about my twin sister. And then I went boxing training, and then I remember that last day we was talking about like boxing, about contracts and things like that, and about my future. And I'm kind of glad I went to training that day because it was the last time I was going to see him. And that last day of training, we had a hard training session. I gave him a hug and everything. And I was like looking forward to the future. I was like, you know what, today we had a good talk about my boxing. What's the next plan? So he basically had a plan out for my boxing career. What's the next step, the next fights we're going to do, and such and such. And then the next day, I go to work. And then I was in my office. My friend came to me and he was like, "Oh, gee, I need to talk to you in my room." And then I was like, "Well, why is it?" And when I went to the other room, he was like, "Oh, your coach's apparently he passed away last night." I was like, "Huh?" I thought he was just trying to bug me. I thought somebody was trying to bug me. So I went in the next room. I made a phone call, and straight away I could hear by somebody else who was close to him just on the phone. They was crying, so I just knew, and I just like, man, I just broke down. And again, and I was like, man, I just couldn't believe it. Like, bro, it's been a mad 2019 and 2020. Like, some people used to ask me, how do you keep it up? I have no clue. And this is a man I looked at like a father figure. I spoke to him every day on the phone, and he was not just like a coach. He was like a motivational man. Every day he's ringing me up, make sure if you've gone jogging. He was making sure I was on point. Every day he was through training. He was pushing me hard, like to the point I hated him because he was training me so hard, but he wanted the best for me. Do you know? So that broke me to pieces, man.
And how long have you known each other?
Huh?
How long have you known each other?
I've known him for years. I can't even tell you. I've known him since the amateur boxing. And bear in mind, I started boxing when I was 12, but I didn't really get to know him until I was about 18.
Now you're 27.
Yeah, now 27, so 9 years, yeah. So yeah.